Hey everyone, it's Marianna and welcome back to another Wicked Wednesday. Today I have a very special video for you guys because I have a special guest with me. She is one of my favorite YouTubers. She is also a fellow foreign film fan and she loves independent film, and if you haven't subscribed to her yet, you definitely should. This is Adele from Roll Credits. Say hi to everyone, Adele, and tell everyone where we can find you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here talking about foreign horror movies. You can find me over at Roll Credits. That's youtube.com/Roll Credits.
Awesome. So today we are obviously going to talk about foreign horror films, and I know everybody loves their Exorcist and their slasher franchises for Halloween, but there are so many great foreign horror films. So we're going to talk about some of our favorites. And since Adele is a guest on my channel, she's going to start first. But before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know this is a two-part video. So there's going to be a second part on Adele's channel, and I will link that down in the info box below. Definitely check that out as well.
All right, so I am going to kick us off with some J horror. This one's a little bit more serious, a little bit more moody. It is Audition from 1999 by director Takeshi Miike. And this movie, let me tell you, you would be right to not suspect that it's a horror when you first get started with it. It kind of starts off a little bit like a romantic drama with this man who is holding auditions to find a wife.
So weird. Such a weird premise, right?
It's such
I
a
started
weird
watching
premise.
that movie and I was like, what is this? This is supposed to be a horror movie. Guys, if I'm looking down, it's because Adele is down here on my computer in Skype. So if I'm not looking at you all the time, that's why. But sorry I interrupted you. I just remember when I watched that movie for the first time, I was like, what is even going on? This is supposed to be a horror film. They're doing this weird audition thing, and now like I don't even understand what I got into.
When I was like the first portion, the first entire probably 2 acts almost, it's building this sense of unease, and it doesn't feel right, the fact that he's holding auditions to find a wife when he seems like a really nice guy. He's got a son that he has a really nice relationship with. He doesn't seem like he'd have trouble finding a wife, and the fact that he is, and the audition scenes as all the women are coming in and he's kind of taking notes on all of them, it's so kind of strange. The other thing as well is that because, you know, in Japan as well, they have a very stringent gender divide culturally for their just gender stereotypes are really specific, I find, in Japanese culture. So this as well is really pulling apart that. And then as the movie keeps going on and things get weirder, he sets his eye on one particular young lady who seems very timid, very demure, very normal and sweet and kind. But don't be fooled, because she has an agenda all of her own.
Things get a little bit weird. I love that they introduce the weird elements slowly. So like you said in the beginning, they do this kind of romance, but I don't even know if I would call that romance, because you're holding auditions for your girlfriend. That's really weird. But it kind of goes like a normal romance drama. But then you keep getting shots of weird stuff and you're like, where is this coming from? And then it all makes sense later and you didn't know what you were in for.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you have any type of fear of needles,
oh God, yes.
Don't put yourself through this. Just don't.
Or do, because it'll really work if you really want to get scared.
Yeah. So, very cool. This one was definitely one that I did not see coming, and I like the fact that it kind of switches the genres around, you know, kind of switches gears, and takes it to this whole next level of batshit crazy.
Yes, it's very unique that way with the genre switch. Not many horror films do that. Like, some horror films take a while to get started, but most of them, you know what you're in for from the very beginning. This is not like that at all. So the one I wanted to talk about first is Wreck. And if you guys haven't seen that, but you have seen the film called Quarantine, that's a remake of Rec, which is a Spanish found footage film. Now, I was kind of on the fence about which film to pick because I don't normally like found footage. Do you like found footage, Adele?
I don't normally. No.
See?
And actually, yeah, to be honest, Rec was one that I actually haven't seen this one, to be honest.
You haven't?
The trailer looks terrifying.
Have you seen Quarantine? Have you seen the remake?
I haven't, no.
Okay,
tell me all about it.
Basically, it's about this young female reporter. So she's doing a report on this emergency fire station and not much is going on and she's kind of walking around. So there is a reason for someone to be filming her the whole time. It's not like, why are these people filming when, you know, in found footage that happens sometimes when you're just wondering why is this person still filming and not running away.
Cloverfield?
Yes.
Did you see Cloverfield? And you're like, the first portion of it makes sense and then when the monsters start coming, you're like, dude, put that camera down. Stop
Seriously,
filming
it is
and
not
run.
time to film. Exactly. Well, this one's not like that because they're actually documenting something for a TV program. And finally, something happens. She gets excited. She's like, okay, I'm going to go follow these people, see what they do when they have an emergency call. And they end up in this building where a lady seems to have fallen. They don't really know what's going on, but soon they get locked in this building without knowing what's going on, and there's police surrounding the building. They're not allowed to leave, and there's something shady happening. And so she wants to keep filming because now she thinks, okay, this is not normal. I need to document all of this so people can see what's going on.
Ooh. Is it terrifying? Will I have nightmares?
Yes, I made the mistake of watching this before going to bed, and it was a really bad idea.
Rookie. I watch my horror movies with all the lights turned on in the middle of the day. Oh, that sounds like one. Yeah, that sounds like one I need to build some courage to see.
I think even if you don't enjoy found footage films, this one is totally worth checking out because it's kind of different in the way that it actually makes sense. And it's one of the earlier found footage films, I believe. Obviously, there were some before that, but it's one that works, which never happens in my opinion. And by the way, guys, we're not ranking them in any way. We're just giving you our recommendations. So don't think that this is like a countdown or anything.
Well, I guess I will go next. And this next one, I'm going to throw it back to something a little bit more classic horror. By today's standards, it could be seen as a little bit cheesy, but back in the day, 1977, it's Italy's Suspiria. And this one, look, I've seen it a couple of times. The first time I saw it, I think I didn't quite appreciate it. And I was like, no, this is cheesy. This is really dated. But then I saw it again quite recently and realized what an absolute horror masterpiece this one truly is. So it starts off... Have you seen this one?
No, I have not seen Suspiria. And let me tell you, I have been meaning to see it and I was saving it for this Halloween season. I'm like, I'm going to watch Suspiria. Finally, everybody has been telling me to watch it. And then they took it off streaming everywhere and you can't even rent it in the US right now. I think this has something to do with the 4K re-release that's going to happen. But yes, now I just can't watch it. So that's really sad.
That said, I think I saw you tweeted about that, but you couldn't find it.
Yeah, I could not. I was looking everywhere and I don't torrent movies, so I'm not going to download it. I'll just have to wait, I guess.
Very good girl. I'm glad you don't.
So tell me about this movie.
So, okay, all right. So this one, 1977, this young American ballerina, she goes over to Germany to join this elite, prestigious ballet school. And even though this movie is Italian, the language is English. Although having said that, the actual audio is a little bit strange because some of the actors didn't speak English, so they were speaking in their native tongues, whether that's Italian, whether I think it might be German, and they've been dubbed with English later. So it's in English. It's a little bit of a strange one. But so she goes to this school and right away students are going missing. There are all these secret back doors within the school. It's this huge, big mansion, and there's definitely something spooky afoot. So It's got one of these opening horror deaths that is very, very iconic. The visuals, all shot with these like really primary colors. It's reds, it's blues. The visuals are just so mesmerizing, and I would love to see this in 4K, because the version that I saw recently was definitely, very 80s VHS.
Not in 4K.
Not in 4K. Also, I didn't even know this, but I was on Google, and apparently they've already filmed a remake of Suspiria. It's already been filmed, coming out next year, starring Dakota Johnson and Tilda Swinton.
They need to stop remaking things.
Well, there we go. So we will see if that's a pinch on the original, which is an absolute classic.
Probably not, but we'll see how it goes. Is it by chance the same director or no? Because sometimes they will do that with remakes.
Yeah, which I also find really odd.
It is.
When the same director remakes his own film.
Yeah.
Which I have a film to talk about a little bit later, which is this case. Yeah.
Ooh. All right, so the next one I wanted to talk about is one that I think a lot of people recommend as a way of getting into Asian horror, and I think you know where I'm going with this, Adele. This is A Tale of Two Sisters. This is a Korean film, and I think it's very famous, and it's famous for a reason. I know you've seen this one, and you're a big fan of this because you mentioned that you were actually considering of putting it on your list as well.
I was, which is kind of good. I'm glad that we have, with our list, we've made sure that we haven't doubled up, so we're bringing you a complete playlist of 12 horror movies, so you should go and see all of them.
Obviously, because they're all great. So this one is kind of like a psychological horror, I would say. It's kind of a hard film to describe. It's basically about these two sisters who come back to live with their father, who is now remarried, and you can just tell that something happened and that it was not good. But you don't know from the very beginning, and this film slowly reveals itself. It is a very slow-paced, kind of meditative film, but it's completely worth it. It is beautiful, and it's also a great film to rewatch because you notice so many things about it that you haven't noticed on the first viewing, because it's filmed in a very, very smart way, and the cinematography just makes so much sense when you know the entire picture. Have you seen it recently at all?
I actually haven't seen it that recently, but I would love to go back and rewatch it. I've only seen it the one time, but because there is such a great final act and a lot of plot, things suddenly make sense at the end. It's definitely one of those ones where by going back, you'll see all the clues in a whole different light leading up to that ending.
It's totally one of those when you watch it the second time and you just think, how did I not figure this out earlier? This is so obvious now. But because you're not in that mindset, you just don't pick up on it. Maybe some people do, but I definitely didn't. I had no idea what I was watching until everything was slowly revealed.
Well, there is one scene in there which totally just, I think it still bothers me. It's like she's sleeping and she's like half dreaming, half asleep, half awake, and she sees something out of the corner of her eye, somebody just on their hands and knees, just crawling, and she can just see their back behind the couch, just like sort of crawling really slowly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that was like... that still sticks with me. Sometimes when they're like the lights are off in the house and you think you see something out of the corner of your eye, that's what
that's totally it. That's happening to me right now.
I see. Yeah. Oh my God.
I actually also made the mistake of watching this by myself in the middle of the night. I do this with horror movies and then I regret it terribly. And I just think, why did I do this to myself? Because I'm definitely not going to sleep now. But
in bed, the covers pulled up, you're like, so many regrets right now.
Yes, mistakes were made with this.
This next one is actually a big cheat movie. It's a cheat. It belongs on this list because I say so. And that is an Australian horror film. Yes, Australian might not be always technically foreign, but look, anything outside the States is kind of technically foreign. So it's not foreign
to me,
language.
so that totally works.
Okay, it works. We're justifying it. I don't want to hear anything otherwise in the comments. We're justifying it here right now. It's an Australian horror film. It is The Loved Ones. This is written and directed by Sean Byrne. It's a low budget indie Aussie horror. It is prom horror gloriousness. It is so great. So it's set in a high school situation, and this emo, angsty bad boy gets asked to the school dance by a young girl named Lola, and he very politely rejects her. He has a girlfriend. He's like, thank you, but no thank you. But damn, this girl, she is not going to take no for an answer.
He rejected the wrong person. That was a mistake.
The wrong person to say no to, and things just go absolutely haywire. It's so much fun. In fact, this might be one of the most fun horror films like that I've seen, just because it's that prom stereotype, and the visuals of her in this beautiful pink prom dress with this pink paper crown on her head, thinking that she's like the most beautiful belle at the ball, but really she's got like this bloody drill in one hand, and she's going right for his head, about to drill his brain. It's marvelous. It is marvelous.
It's great.
If you're into some indie horror and you're after like a good time, it's really great. Do it.
So actually, when I was watching that film the other day, I was kind of taken aback by how much kind of torture and gore is in it, which is something I'm not normally into. But the film generally is just shot so beautifully that I had to appreciate it from that perspective. Do you normally like that much gore in your movies? Is that a thing?
Oh, actually, that's so funny that you say gore, because yes, it is extremely violent and it is extremely bloody and gory, and I don't know why. I think I love the movie so much, and just don't really see it when I watch this particular movie.
But there's definitely a lot more to it than just the gore. But it's definitely like a torture type of movie.
You're right. Actually, I do recall. So this one came out in 2010, and I remember I actually went to the premiere, the Melbourne premiere of it. It was like a big deal here. And I remember that a lot of critics did get a big backlash of it being torture porn.
Because I can see that. I can see someone kind of being iffy about that, because that definitely kind of took me a second to get used to. I thought it was going to be a little bit more like twisted prom queen situation, but it turned out to be something completely different.
Actually, it's a sad story. It didn't do very well here when it opened at the Australian cinemas, because Australians like to watch American movies and don't really support their own Australian movies. So it actually bombed at the box office, and it took the director until this year to bring out his second horror film. So that was his first, and 7 years later he brought out his next horror film, The Devil's Candy. Which is actually
a film I loved. It's one of my favorite horror films this year. If you guys haven't seen it, bonus suggestion, check it out, because it is beautiful, especially if you like some heavy metal in your horror films and you like when music plays a big part in the overall atmosphere. That is definitely a film to watch. And speaking of movies that came out this year, this is another film that both Adele and I wanted to put on our lists, and this is Raw, which is a French cannibalism film, and it actually got me, as they say, in the feels so much. I actually did a review on this, so maybe I've talked about that before, but this movie, it has the most beautiful sister relationship I have seen in a horror movie and in most dramas. You just understand this relationship between the two siblings, but it's also a horror film, and there's cannibalism, and it's a coming-of-age story. It's just such a wonderful film.
Imagine that, a coming-of-age cannibal college story.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Like who films that if not the French, right?
I know. Yeah, this one was totally crazy, and I actually put off seeing it for a while, because this is another one where I saw the trailer and it just looked gory. It looked like much too much for me. I'm not really into cannibalism. Don't know if anyone knows that about me or you. That, you know, it's not really my thing. But yeah.
I don't blame you. It's a little weird.
I'm really not. And so the fact that this was like it was marketed as a cannibal film, and I was just like,
it was.
I don't think that's really for me. But I was wrong. It's brilliant, and it's so much more than a cannibal film. And also the cannibalism is very literally like a metaphor for this coming of age story, so it's pretty awesome.
It is. Like, it works both ways. You can either see it as a horror cannibalism type of film, or you can see it as this overarching metaphor, which is beautiful. And
totally.
The soundtrack and the cinematography are just so stunning. Despite the fact that this is a cannibalism film, it is so gorgeous. Even the most gross shots, you're gonna appreciate them for some reason. They knew what they were doing with this one. It's a beautiful film. Definitely check it out if you haven't. And actually, it is on Netflix now, so you have no excuse.
Is it? Oh, go Netflix. Love it.
Yeah.
Netflix supporting some foreign films. I love that. Yeah.
They've actually added quite a few foreign horror films on there, so
okay. I know what I'm
definitely
doing
winning in
this
the department.
Halloween. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, done.
All right, guys. So this is the end of part 1, but not the end of our conversation. As I mentioned, I'm going to link Adele's video in the info box below, so definitely check it out for more suggestions. We have some other great films to discuss, and I'm going to wrap it up here. Tell us again, Adele, where people can find you.
You can find me over on Roll Credits, or like Marianna said, you can click in the description box down below and we'll link my channel, and we'll link part 2 of this video. So come on over to the second part. We've got way more to talk about.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to my channel and to Adele's channel if you haven't already. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye.